This is the Better Life Podcast, where we talk about real estate investing, building wealth, and all in all living a better life. My name is Brendan Turner, and I've spent my life investing in real estate to achieve financial freedom. And alongside my co-host, Mr. Cam Cathcart, we want to help you do the same. On the show, you're going to hear from world-class guests who have been handpicked to help you level up your investing, your leadership, your goals, your habits, and more to become the very best version of yourself. So join us as we explore the habits, the actions, the beliefs that it takes to build wealth through real estate investing without losing your soul. Lexie and Jeff Bodenmuller.
Yes.
I do. Bodenmuller.
Yes.
Bodenmuller.
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 Nailed it.
I've seen your name online probably every day for the past 3 years. Maybe 2 years. And I've always wondered how to say that last name. And I've never asked you until about 5 minutes before recording this episode.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll talk about more later, everybody, why I see their name online all the time. They're pretty involved in my life in a lot of ways with Better Life, but we'll get to that later. First, I want to ask a question. The beach bus?
Yeah.
Do you have an Airbnb bus? Tell us
Yes.
about the Airbnb bus. And then we'll get into your story. But I don't know about that.
Dude, that's pretty crazy because, that started out moving to Florida, bought some property out there, and we had a trailer, a 40-foot something toy hauler. And a funny story with that was my wife's like, we need to sell it. It's not that cool. We wanted to Airbnb a trailer. And I'm like,
It was not cool.
Not cool.
no, yeah, whatever. So anyway, I thought it was cool. Anyway, we did sell it, and I was bummed, and I was super sad. Then she starts bringing up all these buses on Facebook. She's like, check out this bus, check out this bus.
Actually,
and I'm like,
I'd already found the bus.
You're just teasing it hey.
Yeah.
That's the hidden
I was
story.
I was
There we
throwing
go.
out little hints like,
Yeah.
the bus might
Sneaky women.
Yeah,
I tell you.
sneaky.
So anyway, we ended up we found this bus. These kids had it just down the road from us in Sarasota.
Yeah.
And we bought it from them. And they had it partially done. And they actually took it and did stuff with it, but it had like a self-composting toilet and all this stuff that wasn't really cool for Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took it, and then we had a friend help us, and we converted the rest of it, painted it, made it super cool. And I have an excavator, so I cleared an area on the property because there's all these palmettos and everything out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like parked kind of in like this jungle. And it just looks super cool. So we put up a fence, and there's all this like privacy and stuff out there. And we just started Airbnb-ing it. And we had a friend from church staying in it for a while, and he needed a place to stay, so we put him in it. But then just recently, he moved out, and it's been going absolutely crazy.
We're 5 minutes from a really nice beach, so that helps.
Oh, so people stay at the bus.
So it's the
and they just book it on Airbnb?
Yep.
Yeah.
What do nightly rates go for a bus that you rent an Airbnb?
Right now, we're like $150 a night.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a bus.
Yeah.
Is it on your property?
Yeah.
Or?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
on
we
our
have
property.
like
It's
an
got
acre and a half. So
All right, walk us through the numbers then. How does, what's the math? I mean, what do you buy it for? What do you rent? What's it bringing in a month?
Yeah. So I'm not a negotiator. I feel bad chewing people down. But so I saw it on Facebook. It had been on there forever. And they wanted 19 for it. And I'm like, we had just sold so I saw it. Then we saw the trailer, and I'm like, this is honestly all we have is 15 cash. Promise. I'm not trying to chew you down. I don't want you to be offended. And they were like, we'll take it. So we're like, sweet.
Should offer them 12.
I know.
Exactly.
I was like,
That's my thought.
10 and fix your AC in your Suburban. So anyway, we get it for 15, and then we put another 5.
Yeah. 5
Yeah.
into the bus and
5.
the around
So you're
around the area.
into it for 20.
Yeah.
And then cleared but does it what about the toilet, the shower? Is it
all
that?
it's all plumbed.
Everything's in there. It's
Yeah.
self-contained, and it has solar.
Yeah.
And
then it runs so the tanks drain, they go into a septic tank and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's got
So you,
power.
did you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. We plumbed in all that stuff. Set it all
So
up.
this young couple that did it, they put the whole story on Instagram.
Oh, that was
So
so
we
cool.
could see that it was done right,
Oh,
because the school buses, they hose them out.
Yeah,
And
with the kids,
so,
because kids
yeah,
are nasty.
To clean them, they just hose them out.
the
So
floors
if
rot.
you don't, people come in, rip out the seats, and then just throw LVP over,
Mm.
you can't do that. So they had ripped out everything, all the plywood.
Yeah.
He with a hand grinder
Ground down the frame
ground
of the bus.
down.
Yeah,
And
they showed it all.
Yeah, they showed it all. So we were like,
This is
"Ooh,
done.
we know this is good
So the
to
bones
go."
were good.
yeah.
And then from there, we added the tanks, or he had one tank. We added
Yeah.
the black water tank and all that stuff. And then there's a king size bed in the back.
Mhm.
all that.
Yeah.
And it's got like a regular shower, which she did the tiling in the shower.
Yeah,
and
that
it's-
wasn't finished, so we did
dude,
that.
it's so
yeah.
cool.
How can people find this on Airbnb?
Just Beach Bus Airbnb.
Is the
Beach
title,
Bus
yeah.
Airbnb?
Yeah,
I
we're
gotta look this
in.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super
Sarasota
cool. So how
County.
many nights a month typically do you think you'll be rented, or has it been rented? And,
Oh, well, as soon
Is
as
it-
so our friend moved out
Okay.
early and we put it on Airbnb the next day at a booking. And it's
Yeah.
been,
It's been consistent.
you know, like so we just looked yesterday and it was like I said, finished right before hurricane season. Excellent timing.
Yeah.
And then we got slammed this year.
Yeah.
Mm.
So since it's been open, we've made 11,000 on
and that's
it.
really since
how long
like,
has that been?
And so that was really since September.
Wow.
yeah. But
So
we
you're
didn't
making
have
several thousand a month
hmm
on something you spent 20 grand.
Yeah.
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 You know, there's like the 1% rule and the 2%
Yes.
rule. You guys have like the 20% rule.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
Amazing.
And I told him that. He's like, we need to get more buses.
Yeah, that's my next big thing is I'm like, would you call it the
Oh,
bus stop
Yeah, the bus stop.
or the
Yeah,
bus
that's
yard,
right.
and we're just gonna have a bunch of buses
Yeah.
and like,
The
Dude.
thing that the point to illustrate here though is like normal Airbnb is not doing well nationwide right now. Like
Mhm.
if you have a boring Airbnb, you're not good. You're just a
Mhm.
lot of people struggling. But everybody I know that has a super unique Airbnb
Mhm.
are doing well. People are paying for experiences, but when you go stay in a normal, like just kind of crappy house and you're paying more than you would at the Marriott, like people are going back to the Marriott.
Right.
Mhm.
But you can't get that Instagram picture on at the Marriott. So
Yeah.
people stay for the Instagram picture and the
Exactly.
experience, the memory, the story. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the big
Good
thing is
lesson
like
there.
creating an experience,
Yep.
right? And you're
Yeah.
totally right with that. Like the hotels they're coming back and they're starting to take this back on, and then the Airbnbs are starting to go away. But the ones that do have an experience,
Yep.
or even again like are in good areas, help. But like the experience, I feel is key. And like with us with our Airbnbs, that's the way.
Mhm.
When we set out to do it, we were like, we just want to make it like we want people to give us reviews, but we want to read the reviews and they're like, oh my gosh, we had such a good time just playing
Yeah.
board games or doing things with our kids, or we got to play on this thing, or the bus was so fun, the experience, like
Yep.
it's if we can pour into the lives of families and
Mhm.
the monetary thing is great, but like getting that from families and hearing the feedback from them and just time they had with their children, that's the win.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
feel like
And
that's
you're-
super cool.
And you're dead on too, because the second best performer it's a tiny house.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
and
Yeah,
it's like
so
our
it's-
daughter painted a section of the fence. It's like this awesome mural,
Oh, dude,
like
that's so
just
cool.
unique,
That's cool.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, let's fill in the missing story so far. So I know you two as members of the Better Life Tribe since the beginning. I know you as now coaching. You're helping like actually hold people accountable in the tribe, which is awesome. I know you as real estate investors who do short-term rentals. You have long-term rentals. You've got a bus Airbnb. You've got a self-storage facility. I want to talk about that later and kind of the challenges in trying to scale and what you did, how to get there. But walk us through way before all that. Like, if that's who you are today, who was Lexie and Jeff Bodenmuller?
Wow. Do I go?
Yeah. Yeah. Go.
All right, I'll go. So yeah, I grew up in a small town of Angels Camp in California. I grew up on a ranch. My dad's from Germany, so he came over here. He's 87.
How old are you?
I'm 45.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a good
What do we got?
45.
When you said
Yeah.
you had a 24-year-old, I was like,
I was a little
That's
shocked
like
also.
the math.
Yeah, I
Dude,
go
like-
Yeah, I
fast
was like,
enough.
you look like 31. Like,
Oh really? Dude.
yeah, you look 31. So
Dude, that's so
you're doing
cool.
something right.
Yeah.
Older than me. That's great.
Oh, stop. Yeah, no, yeah. That anyway. But so yeah, my dad, 87 years old, still around. He's got dementia now, but he's still doing awesome. And he just taught us, my brother and I, at a young age, like just like through not like a lot of words. Being German, my dad just very like stoic, right? So it's like you did good. And that's all you get. You don't get much more than that. There wasn't like, but by his actions and how he led is really what influenced me. And I didn't know that at the time as a kid growing up, but as I got older, I started to realize like, wow, man, I'm so much. Matter of fact, that Snapchat thing, my daughter and I were playing on the plane one time as we were bored, and it like, you put it up your face and it'll like make you older or something.
Yeah. Are you?
Oh,
yeah.
dude.
is it too much like your dad?
Creepy. It was
gosh.
exactly
It
like
looked
that.
exactly like my dad. I'm like, that is weird. 'Cause
It was
he has a mustache too, and
Yeah.
it just was weird. So anyway,
Crazy.
just how much my dad's poured into my life as a kid quietly has been amazing. My mom as well, and I have a brother. He's older than me. He's 48 or something, 49.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good guy. He's got wonderful kids and stuff like that. But yeah, we just grew up like everything on the ranch. You know, we had cows, chickens, pigs, goats, you name it. We had all that stuff. And my mom like pretty much made our clothes for us. Like we were those kids, you know. And it was weird. Like I go to school and I'm like, I want to have a Stussy shirt. Like that didn't happen because my mom's like, well, I can make you one. I'm like, that's not cool, Mom. Anyway, so that's just growing up like that out in the country. We lived out a long dirt road and all that. So later on, my wife, and she didn't live too far from me, so we met.
Yeah, where'd you meet?
Yeah.
So
actually, yeah, through mutual friend.
yeah.
Funny story.
Oh, please.
So we had a mutual friend. He knew their family, and then he met my dad working on one of the fires. So he's like, oh yeah, trying to get me together with his brother.
So my brother was trying to date her.
Yeah.
And at
we're
the
like,
time, I should say that too, at the time I was going through divorce with my ex-wife. And at that time I had my daughter, and my daughter was
just turned 3.
Yeah, just turned 3 years old. So we lived down in LA, and I moved back up to, let's say, my parents during that whole situation. And I'm working and all this stuff. And then she kind of walks into my life.
Yeah.
Through,
And
like,
it was so weird. His mom's like, you shouldn't be dating Franz. You should be dating Jeff. And I'm like, okay, weird lady. Like, nice to meet
Did
you.
Did you fight your brother for her?
No.
Yeah, it was. They got on horses. No,
Yeah, exactly.
No,
it was
just
like nice
style.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I just pretty much stole her. I'm like, yeah, so
Yeah, she's mine now.
Mine now.
No, yeah. Yeah. No, it was more like, nah, you know, you're cool, but like, we're way too similar.
Yeah.
We're both like super chill.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's got a good wife now, but mine's better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, go.
I was just saying, Lexie, what about you? Like your background, where'd you come from?
Yeah, so if you can believe it, even more rural than Jeff. Like,
That's debatable.
Wait, like people don't understand. They think California, you live on the beach, you surf, but there's
California
this
girls.
undeniable.
Right? Oh yeah, all day.
Yeah, that was
my
close.
God.
That was
On
close.
top.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. so now I'm like, where was I going? With that? So yeah,
Grew up in the country.
right, yeah. So there's actually like a part of California we've, lovingly dubbed Calabama. It's like the Vatican to Italy. So
That's a good one.
it's
I like that.
yeah, so it was rural. Like we lived down, like until I was 28, we lived down a mile and a half or longer dirt or gravel road.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were out there. So growing up, I went to like a tiny private Christian school. But what led to that really is when I was 22 months old, my dad had saved and bought the property, before you have the family like you do. And there's a single wide on it. Well, we were moving up in the world. So we were moving from the single wide to the double wide.
Ooh, yeah, moving up.
Yeah. So so I've always been, wealthy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always been.
So,
well to do.
So all the power's cut, phone's cut, and my mom's finishing up packing stuff. She had me, I was 22 months, and then she had my baby sisters, 3 months. She's packing up stuff, and then she's like, where's Lexie? So she goes outside looking for me, walks outside, and it's quiet. And she starts walking down. She sees the 2 black labs just like statues staring out at the pond.
Oh, geez.
And then she says, then she looks out and she just saw like the top of my diaper sticking out of the water.
Whoa.
So it was super cold, it was March, and she just runs into the water and drags me out. And she said she looks down, you're not breathing, totally blue. Well, then she's like, now I have this decision to make. I have my 3-month-old baby, no phone, no car, and the closest neighbor is a mile away. So she just starts running with me. So she said, I'm running, I'm patting you on the back, and I'm just like, like my baby is dead, she thinks.
Yeah.
So she's like, not a Christian, just like cry out to God. Like, if you'll save her, then like I dedicate her to you. Just like, please let her live. So she runs to the first neighbor, nobody's there. So she has to run to the next neighbor. So she gets there, calls ambulance, flies down, and they wouldn't let her on the ambulance to go to the hospital with me because they're like, this kid's dead. Like, and she's like, wait, I got to run back to the house and get my 3-month-old baby that I just left all by herself. So she, neighbor runs her back and I go to the hospital. And when they get there, the doctor meets her and is like, hey, like, there's almost no chance of her living. Like, but if she does by some miracle live, then she'll be a total vegetable. So fast forward, I lived.
Hooray! Surprise!
Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
So I was in ICU for 6 days. Obviously like some residual, like, double pneumonia, chronic bronchitis as a kid, all those issues. But everybody in the hospitals like called me the miracle baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then after my mom takes me home, she, good on her promise, and she just starts going to church with me and my sister.
Nice.
And and praying for my dad, and eventually even that wild man ended up in church.
Nice. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So then we just lived kind of pretty quiet.
But the miracle of that
quiet
too
life.
is where you went from there. Like the next thing, your next drowning incident was another miracle.
Like, keep me away from water.
Yeah, you
No, that's a huge deal.
you almost drowned again.
Yeah. So when I was 12, we go to visit my grandma in San Diego. Go to the beach with friends. They lived in Southern California too. So there's 6 of us kids. My mom goes with her mom, and we stayed with our friend's mom. So we're out playing in the water. Everything's awesome. And then our 6-year-old friend, he is like, man, he keeps going further and further. And I'm like, get back here, get back here. He's not listening. So then all of a sudden he starts screaming. And I thought, oh, okay, he can't touch. So I go out. I'm like, oh, I'll just help him and pull him back. No, rip current is what was going on. So it just sucked me out past the jetty. I'm like, panicked. I'm just remember face down. And of course the water's not like it is here.
Yeah.
I'm like, shark gonna bite my feet before I drown. Like, oh no. So then it's just dark and I'm just trying to swim and thinking I'm gonna die. And all of a sudden somebody grabs my arm and then just like pull. And it's like, it was so long that I felt like I was under, but then it happened so quick. Pulls me out of the water and we get back to the jetty and walk back. Well, it was just this 21-year-old local surfer that he said, I went down to the beach for one last time because I was going to kill myself that day.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he says, then I look up and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a kid drowning. So then he just went out and he obviously, totally turned his life around. So if anybody needs their life turned around,
Go say
throw
something.
me in the water. No.
You got this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big things happen.
Yeah.
Do you ever get scared about your pool?
About the kids going in? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as I mean, that's why we put them in swimming lessons early. But now, as we have Gilly now, who's our 3-month-old, so we're planning to put up the glass around.
Are you gonna do that?
And yeah, and at your house, my house now, your house, we had 2 gates, one at the top, one at the bottom, to try to make sure the kids don't get down there.
Yeah,
It's a scary proposition.
it is.
Yeah.
And Cade's wild.
Cade is wild. I'd be more worried about him crying over the edge and jumping off.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things.
There's a lot that kid can do.
Like,
Yeah, he's crazy. All right, let's go to your real estate real quick. Who first got excited about real estate? Who was the impetus there?
By far, I got excited first.
Okay, where'd that come from?
So when I was 15, my dad, we lived, in California. He went up to Oregon to go and look at buying a different ranch. So while he's up there, he's in the office looking at properties, and he's like, "What? Wait, how much are rents here? How much are houses here? Because it was crazy cheap." And then he's like, "What? You mean like I can make money off of this?" So then him and a close friend of his started buying single family homes. So, and then his friend gives him Rich Dad Poor Dad, of course,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then at 17, he gives it to me and he goes, you need to read this. So I'm like, awesome. So I read it and it's like, whoa, light bulb. So I was just saving my money, working. And one night I'm in the kitchen and my dad went up to Oregon without my mom. And he comes back and he's like, basically, he'd figured out a loophole in the whole 4 loan maximum. And he was like, if I can close these 11 houses in one weekend, they won't even know and it'll be all done.
Well, it's not.
My mom was so upset. So I'm sitting in the kitchen and they're arguing about this. And I was just like, well, can I buy one of them? And my dad, and that's where I get like my 11s from. It's like, I tried an offer him, but he looks over, how much money do you have?
Yeah, just-
And then I told him, and I was like, yeah, I got like $6,000 saved up. Yeah.
yeah.
So you can't afford one of these houses. And that was, how it
how you
started
got
So
into
you
it.
bought your
Yeah.
first house at 17?
at 18.
18? That's
I was saving
incredible.
my money
Yeah.
for a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So, yeah.
Do you still have that one to this
So
day?
that one we just sold
sold.
last
Really?
year.
Yeah.
And it was super weird because like, I feel like part of the real estate thing is you cannot have an emotional attachment, you know?
Mhm.
Especially with live-in flips, I feel like, oh, all my blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
And then, so that one was kind of interesting though, because, you know, I'm like, oh, I am attached to this little, you know,
I don't think I could ever sell my first rental,
yeah.
even if it doesn't perform or something. Well, I would for the right number, but
Yeah.
there's such an emotional attachment to it.
Dude,
Yeah, it took me way too long to sell my first
Really?
one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And it was like, rent was almost $900 and I bought it for $28,500.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What'd you sell it for?
Well, I just, it was, I mean, that this might be fast forwarding too much, but we had a tenant in there for years and years and years and years. And it was a beat.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's a bad.
So
idea,
my
too.
dad's like, I'll just buy it from you and
Oh.
I'll put the money into flip, you know,
Yeah, fix it
fixing it.
up.
Because we were in Florida
Mm.
by
Yeah.
this time and he's still,
Yeah.
Still
you know, doing
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
So we just sold it for about 75,000 to
Just
him.
to
Then
do
there was room for him to
Yeah.
sell it because
that's like
Oregon's tough.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
that's,
so.
that area did not appreciate at all, really. I mean,
No,
that amount of
it's-
time.
I mean, obviously it was
No.
total cash flow market.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah. This isn't Portland. Like this is
No, yeah.
this is rural. We
This
like
is rural.
rural. You know,
You like the
right here.
rural
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah.
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 Wow. All right. So let's talk about, let's go back to Jeff real quick. I know you got a job at some point, you became a cop. And you had a little bit lengthier commute than I've ever had. Tell us about that.
Well, I didn't really ever think of it like that, but yeah, like no. So yeah, when we got married and everything, and we had our daughter Aubrey, and then in between there, I was working at UPS where my brother works, and we
Mhm.
were delivering packages and all that, and it was a good job. He still does it, and that for the longest time I wanted to be a cop, but I'm like I can't be a cop because as a juvenile I was a troublemaker. I was like
Mhm.
always in trouble. So I'm like I have a record. Well, I didn't know that record it doesn't exist, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, long story short, I would go to the CHP Academy with my buddy because they had a media day there and we were filming their academy and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is super cool. I'm going to do this. So I signed up and it took years to get into the academy. In that process, and when I was going through the testing and all that, the written test, I failed it like 6 times. Like seriously, it was the hardest thing. And that was the hardest thing to get through. For me, it was so tough because obviously like I have major ADHD.
Mhm.
So I'm sitting in there and you just have to focus and I'm like, oh my gosh. You know, I'm like, why did they give us this test? It's nonsense. Anyway, pass the test, get into the backgrounds. It takes a long time to get there and literally get the invitation to go and my lung collapses. And I got,
for the
Oh,
third time.
that was the second or
it was
third
the
time.
third time.
Yeah. But
just how does it?
oh yeah, real quick. So that story, when I was working at UPS one day, I was finishing up. I worked the mornings loading trucks when I first started. Had like a major chest pain. I'm like, what the heck? Like I got a side ache. And I'm like sitting there trying to like deal with it, not going away. So I'm like, well, I'm at work. I should tell my supervisor. So I tell him. And he's like, okay, we'll go see the doc in the box or, whatever, work comp doc. All right. So I go down there and I see him. He does an x-ray and he's like, no, you're fine, dude. You take some ibuprofen and go home. I'm like, all right. So I went home that night, slept, and it was hard to sleep. I could barely breathe. My chest is just killing me. And I'm popping these pills, like nothing's fixing it. Make it through the night. And then in the morning, I have to go back to the work doc to get released for work with my supervisor. So we go in. The doctor's like, how you feel? I'm like, I don't know, not any better. I actually feel worse. He's like, really? So he like puts the x-ray in there and he's like, holy bleep. And he goes, dude, he's like, that's your lung. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I don't know what you're looking at. And he goes, dude, it's like super collapsed. You need to go to the hospital right now. And I'm like, jeez, what are you talking about? And I'm like tripping out now. My supervisor's like, I thought you were going to work. And I'm like, me too. So anyway, they take me to the hospital. They have a gurney out there waiting for me. They bring me inside. She's my girlfriend at the time. I'm texting her and I'm like, I have to go have emergency surgery because my lung collapsed. So anyway, they do this surgery, which was insane, by the way. Doctor comes in. He's like, I just want to let you know, I've never done the surgery before. Like and we live in like Podenmullers, right?
Yeah,
so it's like, what are we doing here? So
Yay.
In fact, I'm not even a doctor. I'm a vet.
That's what I at that point, I'm like, yeah, whatever, man.
Always say.
Yeah. So she gets there. So she's in the room with me. There's a nurse practitioner, a doctor, right?
There was three
of us. And he's like, I thought they were going to put me out for this. I'm wide awake. And he's like, starts like digging into my chest with a little scalpel thing. And he injects some Novocaine or whatever in there to numb it. And he's digging away and poking. He's like, hey, I got to stick this needle. And it was huge. It was like the size of a pin in through your chest. So I need you to relax. Yeah, he might have been a vet.
He might have.
And so this is all going on. The nurse practitioner chick like almost passes out.
2 nurses left.
Yeah. And she like, it's a mess. I got blood all over the top of me. And he's trying to poke this needle in there. And he's like, look, you're going to have to just relax. You're tensing up and the muscles are tight and I can't get the needle in. I'm like, dude, you're like stabbing me. At this point, he's literally on top of me on this bed and he's like pushing it into my chest. And I'm like looking at him and I'm like, what is going on? This is crazy. So I just remember at that point, because I'm like, I'm going to die either way or something's going to happen here. So I'm like, just close my eyes. And I just said a prayer and I'm like, God, just whatever happens, like I know where I'm going. So I just breathed out like whatever I could. I'm like, ugh. And like just released everything I had, and I felt this like thunk going in my chest, and like right away I can feel almost like air just like something filling up, and I was like, I can breathe. And then he's like, he puts this thing on there, he's like sucking air out of my chest with this pump thing, and like right away I'm like, all right, let's go to work. Like that's awesome, I'm good. So that's how that all happened. It turned out to be a spontaneous pneumothorax, which is the spontaneous collapse of a lung, and it's apparently, I can't believe you didn't get it. Thank God you're past the age now. But it's between tall, slender, white males between the ages of like 25 to 35. So you're outside of it now.
Yeah, I'm outside of it now. I'm good.
So they can get this. And basically what it is, real quick, just it's a bunch of cysts can develop on your lung. And we all get them. But I get they get like a cluster of them. And when those cysts pop just like a zit, it'll pop. And then a bunch of them, a cluster, it opens up. Well, my lung can't fix it. Lungs can like repair themselves very quickly. Well, it makes such a big hole that the lung can't gather up and repair. And so it just air starts escaping. And then there it is. So what they ended up doing.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I was going to say, so this happened. They're like, this is really rare. This won't happen again.
Happened
and then the
2 more
second
times.
time, whoa, that's even more rare. Like that for sure never happened again.
Yeah.
So
then the third
time he had gotten his invitation to go to the academy that we'd been waiting for like 3 years at this point. And
so I may or may not have said a little lie to the CHP. I'm sorry. God forgive me. The lady, like, this is so stupid. And she like now, like, she's like, what did you do that for? So I call on the phone and to this hiring unit or this really nice lady what was her name? She was amazing. Anyway, she answers the phone and I'm like, hi, I just have a question. I'm asking for a friend of mine. If they have like a medical issue, and they already got the invite to the academy, do they need to report it? And she goes, is this Jeff or something? And I'm like, click, like hang up. And I'm like,
hung up on her.
Yeah. And then she calls me right back. She's like, don't you think they have like call tracing? Like, this is the CHP.
Not to. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, obviously they have caller ID.
Yeah. So she calls back. Oh, Tina Kwong. Tina, if you're out there, I love you. You were so good to me. And she goes, is this Jeff? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, Jeff, what's going on? And I just told her, I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm straight up lying. I said, I don't want to lose this. I've waited for years to get in. And now I have my chance and I don't want to lose it. She's like, look, I'll go to the doctor, but let's see what they say. The state doctor gets hold of me and he goes, we can't have you. Like, you can't join the highway patrol. And I'm like, well, why? And he's like, look, that's a risk. He's like, if you're out there just doing your job and you're like, my lung collapsed, then you're trying to arrest somebody, like that can go bad. And he's like, and you've had 3, dude. So it's not looking good. And I'm like, he's like, well, can't you? I was like, is there a procedure I can get done? Because I don't know. Again, we're in Podunkville. Nobody knows anything. And he goes, yeah, he's like, you can go get a paradesis done. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'll do it. So I ended up having that done by this doctor. And basically all they do is attach your lung to your chest wall.
Oh, weird.
And so my right lung
Yeah.
is attached to my chest wall. My left lung's normal. So after that, it was really like weird to breathe. I used to love to run and stuff. And it was hard to run because after so much running, it just hurt. And I had to run a lot in the academy. That's all we did. So I kind of had to retrain all that. Ended up getting into the academy, graduated the first time. I said, first time. We moved the family and everything way away from everything. And I don't make it off a break-in, which is like, you're an officer. I got my badge and gun, everything. I'm good to go. And they run you through training, right? Field training. And I didn't make it. They just said, hey, you can't do the job, whatever. And that fired me up. So they moved me. They said, look, in lieu of this, you can either get terminated or you can demote to another job, which is a civilian job for the highway patrol. I'm like, I'm going to do that because I'm not going to get fired. And I said, I'm going to come back because I want this job. Mm-hmm. So I fought like crazy. I actually stirred up a lot with the highway patrol. They probably all know me pretty well still. And I emailed the commissioner of the highway patrol and I said, I need to be back in there because I deserve to be, on the road. This is what I trained for. Well, that got heads rolling. And you never do that. Like the highway patrol is like the military. It's chain of command. You always go to the next guy. Well, I knew if I did that, honestly, it would get snuffed out. So I went to the man. And the man went down to all the other men below him, was like, who is this guy? And then they interviewed me, talked to me, ended up getting my way back in. But at that point, it was so many years later that they said, look, you have to literally go through the entire process again. So I had to go through the hiring process again, backgrounds again, all this stuff, make it back to the academy, another 27 weeks of the academy, tased, pepper sprayed, tear gassed, all the fun stuff, get out. And then my journey starts as a cop where, commuted back and forth 5 hours, at least 5 hours. On the weekends would come home.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I just told him, like, I am supporting you. This is what you want to do. I don't understand why. Like, I didn't have the same attitude towards
it's just
that.
That's the amazing part of that.
Tried to be supportive, but I said, because when you graduate, they will send you anywhere in California, and it's always the crappy places. I'm like, I'm not moving the kids to Death Valley. Sorry. No. So he said, when I graduate again, I'll commute.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, and I did that for 5 years. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I was 10 years in with the highway patrol, or almost 10. And during that time, just commuting back and forth. So I lived down there. I worked graveyards. And then I would come home and get off at 6 in the morning, and I'd drive back up 5-6 hours home and then stay a day or so with my family. So I'd just stay up the whole day and go to sleep. So I was a moody jerk, probably. I know. Now I hear it.
Just
true.
I'm trying to be nice. Go to bed at like 9 or so with the kids and everything, put them to bed, get up in the morning, I'd take my girls to get donuts and then spend the day with them, my wife and stuff. And then that night, about midnight, she would go to bed. I'd get up and drive back to work in 6 hours and do that whole routine. So it's around like 2015, 16, I was really struggling mentally, like going crazy. And I just felt like a lot of stress just from work and all this stuff. So she's like, go see your doctor. So I do. And he goes, you've got post-traumatic stress. And I'm like, dude, I didn't buy into that. And at the time, I just felt like a lot of people are using that as like a scapegoat to get out of it.
Sure.
I honestly did. And it's sad now that I know that. That's so not true. And I'm not bashing anybody out there with post-traumatic stress because it is for real. So years go by and I just dealt with it because I'm like, I didn't buy into that. Finally got my transfer to be back home, closer to my wife and kids. I actually live at home. And during that time, by the way, we did 2 live-in flips. The first one.
So are you coming back on the weekends and working on the house?
Yeah.
That was mainly me.
Oh, that was you doing the work? Yeah.
That was, I did most of the work on, the first live-in flip, it was very cosmetic. So all I really had to do was like paint, tile,
Yeah.
kind of easier stuff like refinish the kitchen cabinets.
She says
that type of
easier,
thing.
but I'm
No.
like, paint, tile. Like, let's
Right.
not, like, tile's not exactly easy.
Right.
Yeah. You do. She
True.
is the
True.
best tile lady ever. She just finished a tile job at her house right now.
Wow.
But yeah, so she was doing that. I was commuting. Also at that time, she was fighting through fibromyalgia, which she had, and she overcame. And then something else was going on. We didn't know what it was at the time. And it was quite a process
Yeah.
diagnosing and figuring that out.
Doing tile, like one day of work took me 3 days because I do tile. My hands would hurt so bad after that. I have to take a couple days off. So it was a slow process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so
How'd you overcome fibromyalgia? Like, was that the medicine you take, or you?
I basically, with the rheumatoid arthritis, which is later in the story, and the fibromyalgia, really when you don't know what it is, because it took over a year in both instances to get a diagnosis, and just doing going in for blood tests every week and going to doctors, and with invisible illness, a lot of them, try to brush you off like there's nothing wrong with you. And then especially when they can't find it in a blood test or imaging. So it can be super frustrating. And I think that's why it's the hardest part when you don't have an answer in the beginning. So then once you finally get that answer, then it's like, okay, now what do we do?
Yeah.
So with the fibromyalgia, I tried different medications that didn't work. It was very early in them diagnosing it, but staying physically active is one of the best helps for it. And then also getting enough rest. So my beginning of my physical activity was, remember Billy Blanks, the Tybo guy?
Gosh, let's go.
So
That's right. I used to do that. I forgot all about Tybo. Yeah.
yeah,
The fitness
he's the
program.
man.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Yeah.
was legit. That was like before
So-
P90X was like
Oh,
Tybo.
yeah, I did
was
Yeah,
the
and
thing.
good thing because there's
all
no
day.
way I could have done P90X. So I started out with the warm up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
The
just-
5 to
basic.
10 minute
Yeah.
warm up was all I could do, and then I'd be so hurting for days after. Then it was like day 4, like do it again. Then it was just like add a little bit, like add the first move, and then add the second move, and it was a slow process.
I bet.
no quit.
Yeah.
No quit.
So when did that transition into real estate more heavily happen then in all this?
Oh,
how did
it's
that
thanks
end?
to you, Brandon,
Oh, shoot.
because
Oh, yeah.
My fault.
No,
No,
it's
you're
so-
talking about how I got involved.
It's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like full on board, like, yeah, we got to do this. Real estate's awesome. And Jeff's like, yeah, that's cool. I want to be a cop. You can do that. That's fine. You have my blessing, just as I gave him my blessing. It's like, yeah, I'll support you, but
Yeah.
that's all you. So when he got the PTSD diagnosis, it was the end of February 2020. So we all know what happened in March.
Yeah.
So
that's about that's when I
so
left.
we had bought that live-in flip September of 2019. We had ordered all of our materials. We'd ordered this is a huge house too.
Like 4,000 square feet.
Oh wow.
All the windows, all the siding, tons of redwood for the deck, the metal for the roof. And so we had all this stuff. So COVID hits and we're like, all right, we're stuck at home.
We're working on the house.
And
Yeah.
we're just, like that was crazy too. And that's why I feel like if we can go from hardly seeing each other for 5 years to boom, you're home 24/7 and we're
Oh,
working
dude.
together. Like any couple, if you'll look inward and go, okay, what do I need to do? And how can I give to them? Like you can do it.
But not only just like working together and all that, like she was running through rheumatoid arthritis. I'm struggling with post-traumatic stress. I'm going and getting treatment. I lost my job because at that point when I didn't lose my job, but I told work, and all cops know this, anybody, the first responder space knows, like if you tell them something like that is going on, like the chances of you coming back are not good.
They make
It's just
you're
because you're a liability. You're
Yeah.
just and that was the hardest thing. I had a friend that shot himself under an overpass because he didn't want it. And a lot of them do that because they don't want to. We don't, as cops, you don't want to give up your badge and gun because you work so hard for it. So I was struggling with that. She's going through like a pin cushion, right? Like the doctors were going and like, try this, try that. And we can't get anything to figure out. And then on top of that, when I notify the department, they immediately basically come at me. They tell me that I'm making this whole thing up. They deny my claims. I lose my insurance. I can't go to work. I can't do any of that stuff.
So
Wow.
I got
was
diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis that September in 2019. He gets diagnosed in March. We lose our medical benefits and quit getting paychecks.
Yeah. And the only thing, and this is, okay, so here's, so
this is,
Brandon listening to you on Bigger Pockets and all that. But really, like, what turned the leaf for me was like, we barely made it every month. And yeah, obviously that's all God. God just always has a way of just making little things happen to keep us alive and keep us going. I feel like in those times like that. But the real estate that we had, the little rental properties we just got, the one that she had in Oregon, those are what, like, they just barely kept us going.
We had three properties at the time, and we were getting $1,500 a month in cash flow. So he was kind of like, yeah, that's really great. That's your thing. So then when he saw, like, for one, we had reserves, which is, don't run yourself so thin you have no backup.
Yeah.
And then we had that cash flow to live off of.
Yeah.
So we did not get a paycheck for a year and a half.
And we had a fight.
And we were fighting the state of California insurance fund,
Which is not
during that time.
You're not going to win that battle.
No,
I mean, honestly,
because why? Because, like, what percentage of Americans have $400 in savings?
Yeah.
So what happens is they back people into a corner who can go 1 month without a paycheck.
Yeah.
So people will bury it and go to work
Or figure it out.
And we were like, nope, like, we're not. Like,
Well,
this is legitimate. We're going to fight it.
I honestly got to the point of being like, I even told our attorney, I'm like, look, I'm good. I don't care anymore. I'm done with this. This is eating me up. My wife's suffering. Like, my family's like, I can't do this anymore. And he just said, look, you got to stay with it. You got to trust me. And so here's the funny thing.
Amazing.
This was the biggest turn.
the day.
Oh my gosh. So we're in Oregon. We're working on this house, their first house that she got. And it's snowing on us. It's cold out. We're like rehabbing this house because we got to get it done. We got to get a renter in there.
We were loading the dump trailer. My dad let us use this big dump trailer. There was this like 2-car size like shop on the property. So this tenant had been there for like 8 years and just filled it with all their trash.
Of course. Nice. Thanks.
Of course.
So nice.
So if we're getting snowed on and we're doing it because we're like living off of nothing, and that just cut
us. Yeah.
Our income.
Yeah.
So my dad had found us a helper.
Oh, this is good. So anyway, there's this homeless guy that lives back in the back, street.
He meets him because he gets a call from his tenant, and he's like, there's a homeless guy sleeping on my front porch. So my dad goes over and he's like, hey man, like, you can't stay here. So he obviously is a little bit of a meth problem, and like he has one glass eye, and like, you can't make this up. So my dad's like, I know who can help you. So he comes over one day. It's awesome. He loaded the trailer so fast.
Yeah.
And
people on meth.
He
worked very quick. He was super nice.
I could use a little bit.
So on our way to the house that morning, we stayed at her dad's ranch, and we're driving there, and we had a call, or our attorney, because it's COVID time still. So our attorney was like, hey, I have a call, virtual call, whatever, with the judge and everything to find out what's going on with your case. It looks like we're going to get it, and I'm like, man, that would be awesome. Because right now we're literally like beating our heads into the wall. This house, everything's falling apart, right? Get to town, he calls us back and he goes, hey, you won't believe this, but unfortunately it's not good news. He's like, they're not going to back away. Matter of fact, they're coming at you even more now. They're saying they have all these accusations against you, saying that you were getting in trouble at work. Like, this is crazy. And I'm like, what in the heck? So I'm like, whatever. Move on. So we're in the house. I'm laying
Back at the
floors.
house.
She's doing stuff in the house. And then this guy, he shows up and I'm like, hey,
Our
man,
helper.
listen, I just need you to load my truck. And I had a newer truck. It was like a 2015 or 16 Dodge. Nice. It's my dream truck at the time. And I'm like, please just be careful when you're loading it, right? Oh, yeah, okay. And I'm like, take your time. Just don't scratch anything. Okay. So I'm inside laying floors and everything. Comes and he knocks on the door and he's like, hey, I'm done. And I'm like, dang, that was quick, dude.
It was
Awesome.
less
And he's
than
like,
5 minutes.
he's like,
I'm not
I just want to tell you though that I broke your back window of your truck. And I'm like,
He threw a board through the back
yeah,
window.
he just like chucked it in, broke the back window out. And I'm like, all right, well, that's what I get. I mean, whatever. So I'm like, here's your money. See ya. Well, I'll come back. I'm like, no, we don't need you, man. It's all good. I appreciate your help. Thank you. So we go, I'm like furious. It's snowing in my truck. I'm like, dude, what the heck? Like, really? And at that point, we were like, we're going to sell this truck because we need to, because we can't make payments on it anymore. And now it's all messed up. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So we had to go take these doors down to this place. So I'm on the phone with the insurance company, and she said, is there any other damage besides a broken window? I'm like, no, it's a broken window. And she's like, hang on. So we get to the place, and she gets out, walks around the truck, and she's like, you're not gonna be happy. And I'm like, what? She's like, there are scratches all over this truck, like 360
side
degrees.
Of the bed.
The roof,
He scratched the cab.
the cab of the
I
truck.
don't even know how.
I'm like, dude, really?
Yeah.
So
bad day, right?
Yeah.
So, but then what happens?
this is the best part of the whole thing. Is it was the same day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Same day.
You got
My
hit by a bus.
Yeah, dude, right? My attorney calls me right back, and he goes, it was a little bit like maybe an hour or two. All that happened is crazy. Calls me back and he goes, hey man, I just want to let you know this is crazy, but that the attorney just called me back and just said that they're good. They're going to settle on the case and they're going to pay you out. And I got half my retirement, which is better than nothing, right?
Yeah.
And it's tax free. So it ended up settling. I mean, God just it was so crazy because we just stuck to what we had. We knew we had to get things done.
Yeah.
We just kept our nose to the grindstone, and then little things paid off. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So then that created the opportunity we stayed, we worked together, which was it. It took us a while to renovate that house because it was so extensive. But then with him being freed from working for the state, then it opened up the door to, okay, if we're going to do real estate, California is not the best place, So now we had opportunity. So then that was why we went from California to Florida.
Why'd you pick Florida?
Oh,
That
please say
was
this. This is so good.
Oh.
Why? And not only Florida, but why? A certain area of Florida.
Okay, so we had friends that we lived in a tiny town in Northern California, and our kids went to this charter school together. They moved to Florida. They had done a ton of research. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just buy an Airbnb out there so when we want, we can go out with them. And don't worry, I'll get to the best part. So we get the list. We purchase. There's 2 units that we purchase. We get our whole stagger all the Amazon orders, and we're like, hey, we're gonna fly out, furnish this place. This was August of 2022, and beginning of September 22. I don't know if you heard of Hurricane Ian.
That welcomed us.
It welcomed us, and I had told him. He's like, we're not going to Florida. Hurricanes. Yeah, but don't worry, babe.
This area never gets hit.
Florida hardly ever gets hurricanes.
And they never do.
And they hardly do. And so we had more to do on the house than we thought. So I fly back with my daughter. Jeff stays to work on it. And while he's there, it's like the day he's leaving, for one, he got COVID while he was there. And he was
right after I dropped him off at
sick.
the airport, and I get COVID. I'm like,
you have
great.
to laugh. But
Yeah.
so then the day's flying out. It's like Governor DeSantis declares a state of emergency. So we sold our house in California. We had to go back to Florida to fix what we had just fixed. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So, but while we were there, so I'd been on, it's actually like a low dose chemo pills, what they, typically give you for rheumatoid arthritis. And I probably felt I was on 2 medications. I felt about 80% better, but like
Mhm.
my joints still hurt all the time. While we were there, like I felt so much better.
Mm.
I was like, oh my gosh, Jeff, like I can't even believe this. And so since then, like I've stopped taking both of those, like slowly weaned off both medications. So we were planning on like Tennessee or South Carolina, but then, it's like God
Yeah.
laughs at our plans.
Is it
and
just the heat
directs
and
us.
humidity there that
I think it's a few things like the humidity, warmth, and then being at sea level.
Barometric pressure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I bet you.
helps.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So I want to get a little bit into the self-storage here in a
Mhm.
second.
Oh,
But before we do, one thing we do on the show is that the sponsors of the show, all the money that comes in, we take the profit and we donate it towards a charity of the guest's choosing. So the question is, before we air this week's sponsor, where are we sending money from today's episode?
you say it.
You say it. You pick.
I have some good ones.
Okay, go for it then if you got a good one.
Oh my gosh.
It's hard to pick. There's so
I know.
many good
many.
ones.
There's so
It's
many.
tough.
We obviously love charities and stuff, but we like ones that like put their money to work, right? Because so many, I'm gonna say some, they have a cross, it's red. They don't really
Yeah.
do that much for
What-
charity, but anyway, they do. But Samaritan's Purse is great. Good grief, Compassion International.
So can we?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we had this
Uh-huh.
couple come to our church when we were still in California. They're Steve and Brenda Hines.
Mhm.
They go back and forth to India. They have a school. They support local pastors. They have like a widows ministry. But the craziest thing to us is when they told us about the wells that they go out into villages and they drill a well and maintain it for 10 years, and it's $1,500.
Wow. Yeah.
That's
And
cheap.
hundreds of people don't have
Isn't
to.
that wild?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
So
it's
I would-
life changing.
I would
for
like
us.
to.
Yeah, us. Me too. Can I join that? Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll throw our money that way. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. In fact, we're at Better Life. Part of what we give to is a group called Charity Water, which we had
Mhm.
Scott Harris on the podcast, and they build wells all over the country, all over the world. Similar scenario, right? They go in and they dig these wells, and it just gives life to so many people. And obviously in the Better Life Tribe, we fight. All the money goes towards charities that
Mhm.
decrease human trafficking. So the question might be, well, why would that matter? It's because when women, like this is what Scott Harrison explained to me, is like when women have water, they can now, like they don't have to spend their entire day traveling, 8, 10, 15, 20 miles to go get water. Now they can get jobs. Now they can
Mhm.
work. Now they can provide for their family. And it changes. They don't sell themselves into slavery,
Yeah.
or their families don't sell them into slavery because they've got water. So it's actually one of the primary leading ways to stop human trafficking is just give people basic things like water
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
It's
education.
crazy.
So we will do that. And with that said, so I know I'm fairly well off financially, right? But did you know I still house hack? Like, that's right. I've got an extra couple units at my house here in Maui, and I decided to actually rent one of them out because, hey, it's like almost $2,000 a month, and I'm an investor, so why not? Do you know the first thing I did when I decided to rent that out? I went to turbotenant.com because there I can advertise the unit, screen for potential tenant, sign the state-specific lease, get automatic rent payments set up, track my income and expenses, and even communicate with my new tenant via the app. It literally made the process so much easier. So whether you've got, one unit or a ton of units, check out turbotenant.com. I love it, and I know you will too. Let them know I sent you. All right, and we're back. Lexie, Jeff, let's talk about how you scaled up at some point. I mean, I know you got some
Yes.
Airbnbs, you got some long-term rentals still in California and Oregon, but then you went big. So walk us through that process. Why did you think I'm going to go and scale up my operation?
Wow. So yeah, let's talk about joining Better Life, because I feel like that's
Is
where
that
it
a
all
piece of it?
started.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It-
Let's
Dude,
talk about
that
It
was
would
Yeah, why'd you
not,
join Better Life?
It would not have happened
no,
if-
it wouldn't have.
because I originally told him 10 good cash flowing houses. That is all. Like
Mhm.
that is our limit. And then, like the way things worked out as we went, it's like, doors open. Like Jeff's at home during COVID listening to Brandon. So he listens to Brandon and thinks real estate's a good
Mhm.
idea because I don't know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
no.
But so then also though, but it goes both ways because then he's telling me about I saw this thing that Brandon's doing and he's going to do this, it's Better Life Tribe. I'm like, I don't know. But really what sold me on even doing it was that the money went to charity.
Yeah.
That was
powerful.
You know, I'm like, think about it, like, even if we try this and it totally fails, like the money went to charity anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Which it almost did
win-win.
fail. We also, as you know, we almost ran out of money halfway through the year, and then God came through and just
Amen.
Yeah.
rescued the BetterLife Tribe from
that's why-
inadequacies. But
Yeah, no, that's see, like we always make plans, and then God's like, oh, it's funny.
yeah,
Let's do this instead.
let's fix
But
this.
that was my thing is I just became a fanboy of you. On it sounds so
Yeah.
gross, but like seriously, dude. Then
I was
we
jealous
joined.
for a while.
Yeah, she was like, dude, wait a second. We just got our marriage back together again, and now you're out looking this guy. No, but seriously, like,
No, I was thankful for Brandon. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, good.
I just went
Getting him excited
crazy.
about real
Like,
estate.
oh yeah, man, my passion just went crazy. And I'm not like the numbers guy. I'm not like the guy who can tell you cap rates and all this stuff. That's this lady. And that's what I feel so good too with the spouse is like we work and we know like, okay, you're good at this, you go do that. Like she always tells me I'm the motivator. And I don't know if you ever watched that show, The Wipeout
Yeah.
or whatever, Wipeout, where like
Yeah.
people
I'm
literally wipe
standing
out.
on the edge, and I'm like, I got all the plans, all the education, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. And then
Here
the
comes Jeff.
motivator Jeff comes and knocks me
I'm like,
off.
go. We're
We're
gonna do
going.
it.
Let's
Yeah.
And it,
So the scaling up happened because of Better Life.
yeah.
That's cool.
So we're setting goals, right? And I'm like, get one more long-term rental. And he's like, my goal for this year is add 60 units. And I was like, oh gosh, that's
I just went crazy
more than
because
10.
we went. So that's where we'll start. Is with this. Is we went to the summit in Vegas
REI
in
Summit.
23, and I met you, and you like I said, I don't know if you remember this, but we're our whole.
I remember
pod,
meeting you, but I don't remember us.
Okay, yeah. So our
I'm
whole
glad
pod
that
came.
you don't remember.
Yeah, it was weird. It was so awkward.
So awkward.
Yeah, and that's my MO. I guess I'm just do weird stuff, but I'm like, what the heck? So yeah, so we show up there, and our whole pod, which was so amazing. We all came. Derek was the only one who couldn't make it. He was sick, but he got his flights and everything, and just last minute couldn't make it. But we all had our like goal crusher shirts on and all this stuff.
Oh,
we got a
yeah.
picture with you and all that. And then when I met you, I said to you, I said, man, I said, my goal at the end of 24 is to be on your podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
And you were like, oh, that's cool, man. And I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, whatever, guy.
But that wasn't enough. So he needed 60 units of some sort also.
Yeah. So we just went like, the reason why I wanted to be on your podcast was, and she didn't even know I was going to say this, was because I believed in what your processes were and how to get there. Like and I knew you put a lot of work and effort into it, a ton of time. And it was one of those moments with anything, it clicked with me is we started going through it. And I tell all the people I coach too now, I always say like, you need to buy into this. Like you got to buy the hype. And it's not hype, but it is in some ways. Like when he tells you, look at your 5-year, look at it and really, really believe in what you're doing. If you don't do that, the outcome's not going to be what you want. But if you really buy into it. So that's what I did.
So he was like, if we fully commit to doing this, basically we'll be the guinea pigs, right? And if we can commit to it and actually do it and prove that it works, really.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, throw 60 units out there. So we basically thought we were going to get 60 units of multifamily. I don't know if you've heard about multifamily lately, but
Rough.
we
didn't know
I'm
that. Yeah.
underwriting for
Yes.
months and months and months, like nothing's working. We actually we found our mentor through Better Life also. Which is cool because like all these different people we found and connected with through Better Life. So our mentor Christy Keaton, she's like, you know, the multifamily queen. So we're like, that's who we need. Then just struggling through it. And then this self-storage opportunity came up. And it was like, that's crazy. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
That's what's so crazy too, is like, so we were talking to our mentor and she goes, hey, I found this wholesaler that has this property and it's self-storage. Are you guys interested in that? I'm like, actually, I've been for a while because I'm like, self-storage is going crazy. We need to get into this. And I'm that guy, I'll jump for anything. I don't care. I'm like, yeah, multifamily, self-storage, whatever. So yeah, we found we found the phone number of the guy. We stalked him, and whatever, found his phone number.
Sure.
Are you noticing a trend here?
Yeah,
It's great.
It's kinda
Stalker
weird.
Jeff.
Yeah, I know. Find his number and I call him, and he answers the phone. And that, like, how many times does that happen? Like, right, you guys have done that.
they
And
never
he
answer the
answers the phone. And I'm like, hey, are you have self-storage property? Jim. I'm like, hey, Jim, this is Jeff. I said, do you have some self-storage properties you want to sell? I said, I saw one that you had, like, it was a wholesaler. And he's like, yeah, actually I do. And he goes,
had
matter of
4.
fact, I have 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to sell them right now. It's a partnership and we own them outright and all that. And I was like, well, would you be interested in maybe owner financing those? Actually, yeah, I would. And I was like, oh my gosh. Right. So the ball just started rolling. Well, he owner financed them at 4% interest. We took 3 of the 4 properties, ran the numbers on them. They were just like so good.
Like that's what was crazy is like we're running multifamily, not working, and then we're like, this self-storage as is, like the return was like 9.2 as it sat.
As it said.
So the pro forma was like ridiculous, which obviously when we showed it to our potential investors, it's like super conservative
Yeah.
numbers. And I think that was one reason why our investor believed us and went with us is, for one, she'd seen, like we've been doing it for a while, but also when you present, like you always say, like under promise and over perform.
Yeah.
Her financial advisor was like, okay, I want you to run it at this because basically I want to see that this actually is what they're saying. And it came back significantly higher than we told her the pro forma was. So, and I even, like wrote in the email to both of them, like, what you're wanting me to put is like grossly overestimated. Like we were super, super conservative in our numbers. And I think like, being honest is just the key, really.
Yeah. That's what got us into the whole thing. And we with BetterLife, we started the Raising Private Capital show or call. I don't even know what we call it. Call show, whatever. We have like 180 members or something on there now from the tribe. And we did that because we didn't know. We ran into the situation. I posted on the tribe like, hey, we're cash poor. Like, what the heck do we do? Like, where do we go from here?
Eventually,
and people are like, and I was like, I'm thinking about like raising capital, but I don't know how to do it. And then all these people on BetterLife just dropped, like it went crazy. And then Alex Felice reached out to me. He's like, dude, you like crashed the internet. Like with all these people on Circle or whatever on the community were asking about it. What are you going to do about this? And I'm like, what am I going to do about it? No, I don't know. I
wanted an answer to a question. What do you mean? What am I going to do about it?
But it's just like God just kind of like grooming that out to happen. And next thing you know, I met Alex and you and all that in Vegas, and we were talking, and he's like, you should do like a show, like a weekly show. And I'm like, I don't know how to host anything. And so we did, and from that we learned really how to raise capital. We learned how to just the whole way of doing it, and then meeting people and building like just in community and stuff like that. And that paid off.
Like,
that's investors.
So like, for instance, like you have a question and it's like, oh, I know so-and-so in the tribe knows how to do this.
Yep.
Oh,
and you can just ask. Like, I try to drill into all my clients, like the coaching part is huge, right? But going in and being a part of the community is like even bigger.
It's
like
huge.
Once you get that foundation and then you're like, okay, now I'm ready to move forward. Like knowing all of those other people that can help you. And that's the thing too, is like you take the general population and how many, are real estate investors of like average friends.
Yep.
And then like, you hear your vibe attracts your tribe. So the people that are attracted to Brandon typically are givers and helpful, and so you have like they're pouring, like poured through a colander. I tell people, so the tribe is like he's taking the general population for you and filtered them down, and they're in
hopefully
here.
good people who like real estate.
Oh
Yes.
No, that's what it is
fun.
too. Is like
so amazing.
they're good people.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, a lot of people don't realize it, and I don't want this to just be a giant ad for the BetterLife Tribe, but I will say this. The average net worth in the tribe is over $4 million. The average number of units, not counting me, we took mine out of the equation because I probably skewed upwards with whatever 15,000. But like, without me, I think the average is like 35 or 40 rental units.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which means that like out of 1,000 people in the tribe, like these are real investors, real people that are every day that are doing this stuff. It's like, how could that not pay off when you're when you're basically in a room 24/7, anytime you need it, of 1,000 people actively doing this that all have the same mindset? Like it's just so stinking powerful. And then you throw in the coaching, which we can talk about a little bit, and the accountability with that. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's huge, man. Like that whole thing, like that was the next thing. Like, so the end of the year last year, right, was our biggest year. Like it was crazy. We're getting to the end of this year and we've hit like a ton of goals. I gained like 15 pounds of muscle. She lost how many inches off your waist and how much weight?
Yeah.
Like, and just like fitness in general has just been a huge struggle for her with rheumatoid arthritis and all that. And for me, I could never gain weight. I was always a little guy, you know, like matter of fact, I could never grow a mustache as a cop. Just a little known fact. I could never do it. And then I because we always had like,
you join the BetterLife Tribe.
Exactly.
Next is the beard.
No,
wait. So what's the trick?
I
mean, look
how'd
at
you grow
mine.
a mustache? Yeah.
I don't know. Seriously,
It just started.
it just
Your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
There
you go.
If you join the tribe,
If you join the tribe,
can
you'll grow a
grow
mustache.
facial hair.
Yeah, that's pretty much a rule.
Yeah. So
Look at Cam. He was clean shaven a while ago.
Yeah.
Now he's got.
that just happened just now while we're talking.
I know, right?
I like that, man. Yeah.
That's too funny.
It's a little too thin.
Yeah.
Let me go back to the raising capital thing. What have you learned about raising capital? What you share advice wise?
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that sorry if I.
No, please.
Okay. So one thing that I noticed is that people, I think they try to put the cart before the horse, where they try to find investors and they don't have a deal. But as soon as you have a good deal, like, you know,
say that.
obviously it's way easier to find people when you're like, hey, this is what I have.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, what you can get. I think that part, but then also, the trust factor is another huge part of it. And then also it's going to be tougher if like you just started doing it last week.
Yeah.
But sticking with it, that's another big part of it.
And then like relationships. Like I feel like that was my thing is I feel like I'm pretty decent at like building relationships with people and getting to know people and building trust with them. And I told her, I'm like, I don't want to work with other investors or anybody or use other people's money if I don't know them. Like I want to know their family, their kids. Like I want them to know who I am because I feel like there's that's an important part of this. You know, this is not just a business deal. Like it is, but it's like I want you to know that you can trust me. And I feel like trust comes with like just getting to know each other, like your kids and how you are as a person and all that. So that was my big goal is when I started really getting into this and having these calls with people and stuff, I started to realize like the community side. And where's the community side? It's BetterLife Tribe. There's so many people on there. Like we go on Tribe Talk all the time. We're there every time they have it. We want to have it more. I keep telling Caleb, like, come on, man. Like weekly, like, let's go.
It's actually hard to get people to show up to that.
It's so crazy because I'm like,
it's so powerful.
Everybody
what is Tribe Talk? For those who don't know, what's Tribe Talk?
Okay, so dude, Tribe Talk is literally speed dating for real estate investors. It's so good. It is. It's so crazy.
So not directly on topic, but what I would like to do, might as well go right to the head guy.
Let's go.
So I've talked to 3 or 4 women that are like, I don't want to go on Tribe Talk because it's all men. And then I was telling Jeff, like, I just heard this statistic the other day. Only 3% of women invest in real estate. And of that 3%, 1.5% do so with their spouse. There's only like 1.5% of women investing in real estate alone. So I'd reached out to Caleb. I'm like, hey, Caleb, like, can I do just like a women's only, like, I don't know, build your confidence or at least connect with other women, you know, because
to start the process.
To get, you know, that
to get people engaged because that's a big thing. Like you said, the tribe talk is just, the idea is amazing. Like you have 5 minutes of that person and they pop on and you're like, hey, oh my gosh, like you just real quick get stuff out. But once you learn it, it's so amazing. You learn so much about these people and then they're gone. And then another person comes and it's like what's so cool about it is like they're from all over the place.
Yeah.
And you just learn so much from each person just for that 5 minutes.
How
It's
often
so
do you
cool.
drive Cathcart?
About once a month,
Once
right?
a month.
It's about once a month right
Yeah,
now.
it's once a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
First Friday.
Yeah.
First Friday?
People
pretty fun.
complain about Friday nights.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Yeah, we
like-
need to change the time. Friday nights is not necessarily the
But-
best time for speed dating because
but-
people are really dating.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
That's too
Yeah.
funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, anyway, I appreciate you guys being part of the tribe, being in from the beginning, and now helping out with the accountability coaching
I
stuff.
want to hear about that.
the coaching
Oh,
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
What,
do you guys,
what is
what
how
is the
does-
accountability coaching you guys explain?
Yeah, so that started, we were talking to Jason last year, and we were like, hey, like, Ryan Brooks, who's an amazing tribe member, he's so good. He told us, he's like, you guys should be coaches. Like, we need people that have been in the tribe to be coaches. And I'm like, sweet. So I like sent out the application to Jason. He was like, dude, you guys want to be coaches? Oh my God, we want to have you. Let's do
But
it.
he's all, wait, do you have time for that? We're like, not really.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Hey, you want
So-
something done? Ask the busiest person.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah. So, but I just felt like we talked about it and prayed about it, and we're like, if we can just in the beginning commit a little bit of time to this, get some people on board, and just try it out and see how it goes
Yeah.
for us. Because again, I say all the time, like, I can't even believe I get paid to do it. Like, I'm like, why? Because it's so much fun to like. And again, that comes from our passion, and that's why I told Jason, like, when we decided to do it, we're like, the reason we want to do it is because the tribe changed our lives.
Yeah.
The steps
It's
that we did and things like that, we know that it's possible as long as you put the work in, right?
Mhm.
Can't sit around and just pray about it. You got to take action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we took
It's-
action, and
yeah.
then this year it's like we have clients. How many you have? You have like
Like 18. now?
18. I've got
Wow.
like 11 or 12.
Yeah. So
Um,
it's really like a, giving back, trying to help. I know, like, I've talked to one of my clients, and he's, he was like, oh, I thought I'd be farther along, kind of down. I'm like, yeah, but think about it. Like, we're always like, help the person 2 steps behind you.
Yep.
mhm.
Don't just look at where, somebody else has gotten to. Like, everybody's on their own journey.
Yeah.
So, like,
Comparison is a thief of joy.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yes.
dang.
Exactly.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's a
But
good
I
one.
didn't invent that. Somebody else said that.
Yeah.
Probably Abe
oh
Lincoln,
my gosh.
I'm
Steve
also,
Jobs. Somebody.
Yeah,
said
somebody-
it.
somebody smart.
I'm just gonna start putting quotes and like
Yeah.
attributing them
Yeah,
to
just-
you.
Exactly.
People
Good. I'll
believe
take it. A wise
Have
man
your
once
face
said.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and so explain real quick if you could, like,
Yeah.
our coaching is not people have come into Better Life coaching thinking it's one thing and it's
Yeah.
not. And then
Yeah.
we have not maybe what they're I don't think we've miscommunicated it. We've said it's accountability since the beginning. I think people just want something more. Like they want us to give them a piece of property and say, here you go. Here's the property, sign here on the doc. Like they want
Right, yeah.
complete hand holding.
Yeah.
This is
Totally.
very different. And it's based on my belief. And I want to have you guys explain like, what you do on a coaching call. But that people don't need more education. The education is out there. It's free. It's in a $20 book. It's in a course, whatever. What they need is to take action.
Yes.
And that's what we do. So how do you do that on a coaching call?
That's exactly.
For me, it's like seeing where the person's at, right? When you get that first call with them, and it's like just getting to know them, getting to know their goals and all that stuff. Like my thing is like, I'm the what do you call it? The ball, the white, the motivator. I'm like, hey, that's my job. And then I'll ask them, I'm like, hey, look, where do you want to be? Like, where are your goals? Where are we at? What, and then are those big to you? Because once they get into it and they set the goals and they do like your goal setting summit and all that stuff and they work through them, like I tell them, like it's like my wife and I will go to the beach and we make it very, very like something to remember, right? Because this is important. You're changing your life.
Yeah.
Like you're doing something completely different than you've ever done before. So just getting into that with them and helping them understand that, I feel is key. And then once they start, they get their habits lined out, they got their 3 goals, all that stuff. Like, do you start to see sometimes struggles, right? That's when these things start to show up. You'll be like, okay, you're doing good on this one and this one, but this one you keep missing. What's going on here? Well, and it'll be the excuse stuff we get tossed back and forth. Like, oh, well, I couldn't make it to the gym. I was sick, or I couldn't do this. And I'm like, okay, what I say to them is this. I go, are these 3 goals important to you? Like, whatever. And they're like, yeah, well, for sure. And I said, okay, do you have a normal job? Yeah, I do. Okay. I was like, your job now is to check off those habits every single day.
Yeah.
Your job is not to be a cop or whatever it is. It's not your job anymore. Your job is to make sure those habits get done.
Yeah.
Because if that's the most important thing to you, the only way you're going to get there is to check those habits. And I said, if you do that, the outcome is there because we know we did it.
Yeah. I think to answer part of what Brandon was talking about is, So a lot of people sign up thinking it's like first deal.
Yep.
So in that initial call, it's like, okay, I'm going to explain to you, this is about your performance and accountability, and I cannot guide you, even though I love real estate and I want everyone to do it and I want to make suggestions that's not what this is about. But what's cool is that when we identify a problem, like there's so many tools that I can say, hey, go use this calculator.
And
Check
this out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, your Airbnb's not making money, huh?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you go on, guess what? We have this master class. And so you can, go through that.
We struggle with the idea of using the word coach because in the real estate world, a real estate coach is probably actually a lot what like you do with deal flow.
Yeah.
Like, deal flow real estate. Like people pay a lot of money, they go in and you literally are there on these calls every week and you're guiding people. Your program is a lot different than what mine is. So all we do is accountability, like holding people to those things and then giving them resources as they need them. And we struggled with the word coach, but the reason I ended up sticking with it, I think we call it results coaching, is because think of like a coach. If you're a NBA player, NFL player, whatever, like I think NBA because they probably all have a lot of coaches, right? There's different coaches for different things. Yeah. The coach at an NBA team is not, or one of the shooting coaches. I don't know what's the name for a coach, but they have special coaches, right? Yeah. Those guys are not teaching the NFL, NBA player, Major League Baseball player. They're not teaching them anything, right? They're not saying, okay, so when you get to the bat, you're going to get 3 chances to hit the ball. Like these people already know that. They wouldn't be in the big leagues if they didn't already know that. So what's the coach doing? They're just holding them to the standard that the athlete has already set for themselves. That's the coach's job. And the coach's job is to see little things and ask little questions to tweak it. We are that coach. We are not, let me tell you what a duplex is and why it can cash flow.
Exactly.
Like you don't need to know that. If you do, join First Deal or join Deal Flow Real Estate if you want to do a big. Yeah. It's like, what we want to do is make sure when you say, I'm going to analyze 5 deals this week, we're going to say, did you analyze 5 deals this week? And if you're like, I don't know what actions I should do to get a real estate deal, fine, we can offer some advice or give you pointers on how to do it. But it's way more performance-based.
And at the end of the day, that's by far that's what I tell everybody in deal flow.
I know, you do the same thing in deal flow.
Hey, everything that I teach you, you can learn on a podcast. You can learn reading the right books, watching enough YouTube videos. I think with both like My First Deal and Deal Flow, it's streamlined. And so it's easier to access that. But you can learn it all via just putting in the work and finding it. ChatGPT could probably
really good.
But the difference is like, or the only way you're going to be successful is by trusting the process, like what you guys said, doing the right actions every single day, and then surrounding yourself with a community, which is what you guys have in BetterLife. It's incredible, is the community and then the performance coaching. Because I truly do believe anybody can be successful in real estate. I think it's harder right now, but at the same time, if you do the right things every single day, you can't not be successful. I truly do believe that. And so, like even in our business, there's a guy who had been struggling, and we just went through like, here are the things that you have to do every single day. And I promise you, if you do that, you will buy a good deal. And 4 weeks later,
it can't be that easy, Cam. It can't be that easy.
But I think so many people, they give up before they get there. Because like if you're just cold calling, for instance, that sucks. I hate cold calling. And you get cussed out a lot, and you get told never call me back and hung up on, and you can do it for 10 hours in one day and not get any good leads. And it's just that you can do that for a month and you might only get one deal, but on that one deal, you can make $75,000 on. I remember when we interviewed Cole, John, he was talking about like, if I told you that you could buy the house next door and you're going to make $200,000 on it, when you flipped it, but it's going to take you 4 years of follow-up to do it. Most people would say yes, but the problem is a lot of people have those deals out there, but they only do 2 months of follow-up. I thought that was exactly. Or for me, sometimes I talk to you once and I'm never talking to you again if you don't say yes. So
it's all in the actions. Like the kind of the key like pillar of the BetterLife Tribe, I say it all the time, is you get the results of what you repeatedly do, right? It's like if you repeatedly, like we all know how to get a 6-pack, but knowing doesn't give you a 6-pack. The only thing that gives you a 6-pack is looking like Cam. That's it.
Yeah. I wish that it was just knowing because I would have a six pack.
Yeah, we all know how to do it. We all know how to get in shape. We all know how to run a marathon. We all know how to buy rental property. We all know how to be good husbands and wives and fathers and mothers. And yet we are continually struggling to be the kind of person we want to become. And so if we stop focusing on the outcome and the output and start focusing on the inputs, the entire BetterLife Tribe methodology was built off of what business owners do to grow their business. They have KPIs, they have meetings, they have metrics, and they have what are your lead measures in a business that give you the lag measure that you want or the lag output. So we just said, why don't we apply that to our whole life? So in the BetterLife Tribe, we do that with, you can have a goal for real estate, a goal for personal, a goal for whatever, and we're going to help you hit your 3 goals every quarter and then kind of align it, annual goals, quarterly goals, weekly ones, and then the habits. And we just hold you to it on a 20-minute, 30-minute call. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, guys, question for you. Let's talk about working together as a spouse. Not many people can pull this off. People try to work with their spouse, and Cam, you actually do a good job of it too. Heather and I did it back in the day. But you guys seem to be amazing at it. And so what is the secret to working with your spouse and not killing one another?
Prayer. No.
Yes. And that was the Better Life podcast.
See it now. No.
Drop the mic.
Yeah.
That's it.
So we were kind of talking about this, I don't know how long ago, but as you go through and you figure out how to solve a problem, it's not like you're journaling it on the way. So we've been together over 20 years now. That's
Let's go.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, since kindergarten.
I'm not going to ask your age, but you also look about 31. So that means you guys met at 11.
11 years old.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well done. Yeah.
Got signed off on that early marriage.
Yeah, perfect.
So what we say though is if we could work through this, going through that, gone for 5 years and then home 24/7, then anybody can do it. But I mean, I think it's basically for one, so basically when I was in 2nd grade, I'd always get my report card, and going to a Christian school, they don't just give you grades on, math and English. They would give you character.
Really?
Yeah. So I just remember.
She remembers this. Yeah.
This is why I remember it, because grades would all be good, all these being nice to others and all this other stuff. Awesome. Doing good, but accepts criticism cheerfully. Every time I got
bad
dinged on it. So actually taking what he said to heart and go, okay, yeah, maybe I do need to look inward and change things. And then also both putting effort in. That's huge. So we were kind of thinking how do we kind of, make it easier and summarize? So we were like, okay, why don't we use the acronym SPOUSE and fit in these things that we've figured out working together. And because initially, when he came home, he would not go outside and work by himself because his brain was so
I couldn't do anything.
Injured. He couldn't even measure and cut something. He was so.
I remember one time where I was building the deck, and I was cutting a spot for the 4x4 post to come through the deck, right? So just measuring out, I got my square, measured it, and I cut it. And it was I don't even know how. I was like, this is not even close.
Yeah.
And I did it again.
Yeah.
And I messed it up. And I went through 2 pieces of redwood, and I'm like,
yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on with me? So it was
he
really
couldn't even process, but
it was
I mean, thankfully, but not thankfully, I had a medical incident. Imagine that, me having a medical incident.
Had a couple.
So I had one of the complicated migraines where it's stroke-like symptoms, and I had to stay in the hospital, did all these tests. But what happened was my short-term memory, my personality, for probably 2 weeks, my brain was not functioning. So I remember I had, call it the incident, on on a Tuesday, and then I was going back to school at 30 years old the following Tuesday. I couldn't even remember my schedule or what I was supposed to bring, so I had to write everything down, like looking online. And I was driving to the school, like no hunger, nothing was funny. Like my brain was just not functioning. And I remember thinking, like, I cannot live this way if this is a long-term, you know, way that I'm going to be. But what happened was that was just temporary, and it allowed me to have the patience and understanding that he needed, because I could kind of relate in a small way to what, you know, he was going through. So yeah, a lot of it is, you know, putting yourself in that other person's shoes. So that's why I think, you know, we could work well together.
Yeah.
Well, and so yeah, with that said, we really feel called now to write a book, because we know, and we talk to so many people that are in, you know, married or struggling in marriage, or married and trying to get into business together, or they're doing real estate together, and one does it or the other one doesn't, or they both do it and they fight, or, you know, like they're all this stuff, like, I want to paint it this color, I want to paint it this color, all that stuff. And we get all this all the time, and I'm like, man, like, we need to do something about this. We just feel like whatever we can do to maybe help marriage or help people realize, like, first of all, marriage is an amazing thing. Like, there's so much to it, but it's only amazing if you put in the work every single day. And as humans, we're super selfish. So I'm like, yeah, like, I'll commit to you. Like, what are your needs, right? And then, like, I'm good with that for like a day or two, and then I'm on to my needs. I'm like, well, Jeff's got to drive his new car he just got. Like, that's what Jeff needs to do. But if I remember, like, why I got that car, because I have a lovely wife that told me, like, you get enough assets, you can buy your dream car. That's what matters to me. And like catering to her needs and taking care of her and stuff like that is, I feel like, what builds and grows your relationship. And then with that, taking it into business, like, you can become bulletproof business partners, but it literally just takes, like, commitment all the time, humbling yourself, learning, like, when you're not good at something, hey, I'm not the best at this, you are, you show me how to do this. Because sometimes we let our egos get in the way, and I'm like, you're not going to tell me how to do this.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. What advice would you have for somebody who says, I can't get my spouse on board with real estate? They don't seem to care about my, you know, I'm excited about this, I got the bug. I can't get them excited.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know if you've ever had this happen where you tell your, you know, like, your wife's like, hey, let's go over to this restaurant, it's really good. And you're like, oh, I think that's, like, vegan, I don't want to. And then Cam comes up, and Cam's like,
you got to go to this restaurant.
I had this amazing, like, portobello mushroom burger, and you're like, oh, we got to go, Cam.
I will never suggest a vegan.
I don't think you would say that.
Never suggest a vegan restaurant.
No, but if you had the taro burger from, that place over in Lahaina.
No.
Oh my gosh, it's like the best. Anyway, taro burger. It's one of the best burgers I've had in my life. Anyways, total vegan restaurant. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Anyway, shout out to the name of the vegan restaurant. I can't remember. That wasn't Lahaina. Now they moved up country, and I don't remember their name. Anyway, great restaurant.
I love vegans. Not vegan restaurants.
Not vegan restaurants. Anyway, keep going. So in other words, get somebody else. Like, get them around other people.
So right.
Send them to Better Life.
Like, and it's hard too when you're educating and they're not. But what I tell people is, like, oh, you've been doing it for 3 years and your spouse is not on board. Like, don't give up.
Yeah.
Like, keep with it, because it took him like 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
And then also, like, I don't know about you, but when somebody's, like, pressuring me to do something, then of course I resist.
You gotta see this movie. I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Totally.
That's why I failed the fitness challenge, because I was told that I had to do it.
And you're like, oh yeah, watch this.
Watch me.
I'm gonna sit at home and just eat potato chips and not do 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
I also encourage people a lot when they ask that question to me. Like, I like to find out why they want their spouse involved. Like, if their spouse is, like, actively like, you should not invest in real estate, I don't feel comfortable, we shouldn't do it. That's not usually the case. Usually it's just like, they just don't care. It's not their passion. And then people use that as an excuse of why they're not, because they don't want to admit that I'm just afraid of taking action. So they just say, oh yeah, my spouse isn't on board, therefore I'm not doing it. I'm like, do it anyway. I mean, like, don't go against your spouse, but don't use your spouse as an excuse not to take action.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, oh, I can't lose weight because my spouse likes to eat Oreos. It's like, They always have Oreos in the house. It's my wife's fault. She always has Oreos in the house. Like literally, my wife makes cookies every other day.
No.
And for years I blame. I'm like, well, I can't get a 6-pack. My wife makes cookies. And then I should think it was Jason, my better life coach, was just like, what's that got to do with you?
Yeah,
like, why are you blaming her? You're just
let the kids eat them.
like, oh, dang it, you're right. Shut up.
I think a lot of times it's an ego issue. They're afraid of failure. And if they don't have their spouse on board with them and they just fail, this is all on me. But if their spouse is with them,
Probably their fault.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my wife's fault.
But that's what the root of procrastination is, I think.
100%.
Where they're just afraid of failure.
100%.
What is the spouse, an acronym you alluded to? What is that?
Yeah. So we were kind of like, okay, what are the big, what are the biggest parts of this that we can kind of help people, easily remember and fit in. And then hopefully we'll be able to like build on these as we go. But so the first one is set goals together.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Basically, I'm like, if you're side by side in a rowboat and you're not in agreement with what your vision is and where you're going, you're going to be working against each other. But like you said, it's not necessarily that they have to be, equally as passionate. But just as long as you're not fighting each other, you can still move in the same direction. And I think also maybe a spouse is not super excited about, hey, we can, do all this hard work or we can live and flip. But if you present them with hey, where do you want us to be in 10 years?
Yeah.
Because and it's weird because typically I think it's, from what I hear, it's the wives that are not really
Usually
the conquerors and the, you know what I mean? It's so.
Yeah, what do most women want is stability.
Right.
And so therefore, and so then men sell it to their wives of we could live in a dump and we could be really broke for the next 10 years.
Totally.
That's how, that doesn't sound stable. But if you're hey, we could have freedom from our job and that's going to give us stability, all of a sudden it's a way better sales pitch.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So that, and then plan, prepare, and pray, we added to that.
Yeah.
I love that one because
pray.
There's to plan, that's, when you set goals together, that's the big part of it is you got to plan things out. You got to prepare for where you're going to go. You got to know what the outcome is, how you're going to get there.
Right.
And then we love praying together. We're
couples who pray together stay together.
That's exactly. Brandon Turner said that.
Brandon Turner said that. He did. Yeah. And actually that's kind of where we started doing it. We heard you I'm praying with my wife, Heather, and all that stuff. And I'm like, we need to do that. And as I guess we'll say the spiritual leader of the home or whatever, for me, it was important for me to go to my wife and say, we need to do that. So we do that. And last year, especially, we prayed a lot over our goals and stuff that we set. We feel like it's very important to us just to talk to God and be like, here, God, this is where we're headed. This is the direction we're going. You already know where we're going to end up, but we're just telling you this is what we have planned out. This is where we would love to go. We're going to make the steps and all the things happen. So prayer is just a big part of it. And he opens those doors. So we noticed that last year with so many things, he just opens the door up and it's there you go. That lining people up, dropping them right in your lap saying, this is what you're going to do. And it was just amazing. So prayer is a big part of it.
A 1997 Gallup poll conducted by the National Association of Marriage Enhancement reported that among couples who pray together daily, the divorce rate is 1 in 1,152.
That's
less than
insane.
0.1%.
That's
Isn't that wild?
That
only
is
11% of
crazy.
couples actually pray together
Wow.
daily.
11%.
11% of couples pray
That's
together daily.
crazy.
But of those that do, the chance of divorce is 1 in 1,152.
That's crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah. Married
That's
couples
nuts.
pray together.
Yeah.
And
And obviously, for that 5 years when we were never together, we're not praying together.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, our relationship kind of suffered during that time.
Yeah, it really did. That's so
Shocker.
true. But yeah, prayer is a big one.
Yeah.
And then the O is open communication.
Yeah.
We know as dudes, you got to communicate. And it's so tough.
What'd you say?
Open
kidding.
communication. Exactly, dude.
Totally.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Honey,
Yeah, no, but
I told you this 3 times. Remember where
Yeah.
we were? We were sitting in the car. Yeah.
And
And I would always, women think it's so obvious. And they're like, well, yeah, I told you, oh, I don't think so. And, no thanks. That's how, I was so shy and quiet when I met him. Where do you want to eat? Yeah, wherever. I don't care. And then once I realized like his communication style is like, that's not going to get through to him. I need to be very direct and to the point.
Yep.
But then not be mean about it. So just sometimes I could be a little like overboard, but knowing how to communicate with each other, and usually married people are opposites, like tend to, attract. So it makes communicating really difficult, but once you learn how to, it makes things so much better.
It's just a powerful, I feel like that's one of the most powerful things in a relationship is how you communicate. And for me, like I've learned in the last probably year or two, I hope I'm getting better at this, is like intentional communication. Like when either my kids are talking to me or my wife's talking to me or anybody, like just really in being intent and like listening to what they're saying, repeating what they're saying. And that doesn't happen all the time, right? Especially with us, with both of us having ADD, we're like, she's talking to me and I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I totally heard you. And I'm like, I didn't hear anything she's. So now I'll like, if she says something and I'm like, I'll just like go, okay, don't say you heard her because you didn't. And I just go to her and be like, I didn't hear anything you said. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
I do that to Heather all the time. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I have no idea what you just said.
Right?
Like my mind was somewhere totally.
And it's embarrassing, but you just got to own it and be like, I'm sorry. Let's try that again. Ready? Here we go. And then like let her say it. So that's
and then I think not getting upset. About it.
That's not the you though. What is the you?
Oh, the you. Yeah, understanding each other.
Yeah.
So this was funny. I have to share this. So we both get BetterLife t-shirts, right?
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it.
Oh,
so
God, help me.
we get these when I was bigger and he was smaller. And so what did you get? A small and I got a medium. And a couple weeks ago he's like, is that your BetterLife shirt? Because it looks small on you. But like not like most women would like and me 20 years ago, like I would go cry. And now I'm like, dude, you jerk. Like, no, this is my shirt. Like, but thank you for calling me like burly. But knowing where he comes from, like, he's not trying to cut me down. Like, he loves me and unconditionally, whether I'm in the small or medium.
I gotta say, another one is funny too. I have some good ones. Oh Lord. So she played softball growing up. She was like the Nolan Ryan of softball pitchers. She had a full scholarship ride and all that. Like, well, whatever. You were awesome. No. She was amazing at it. She spent almost your whole senior year in bed too from fibromyalgia, by the way. But anyway, like I just like her arms are like awesome, right? And I'm like, dude, you have like awesome arms. They're like they're like Paul. You know who Paul Senior is from American Chopper? Remember that show? It was like the motorcycle show. The guy's just like
cut. He always has cut off shirt to show off.
And I'm like, you got like Paul Senior. We were watching maybe at the time, but I was like, you got like Paul Senior arms, and she's like, what the heck, dude? Really? And I'm like,
you're such a charmer.
I don't mean that. It's
such
like,
a charmer.
I know, right? Like, how could you resist that?
Yeah, understanding each other. Like, we felt that one fit perfect because that's a big part of it. Like, I'm very unique at how I communicate.
Yeah.
A lot of that I feel comes from my dad. Like, my dad would always say, like, because he's German, it's just all this like brutal stuff. He's like, "You're sick. I'll take you out back and shoot you."
And then laugh.
And he's like, yeah, that's how like Germans are, right?
So like, So our daughter, our 17-year-old, that she's actually home all by herself taking care of the dogs right now.
Love you, Ops. You're doing awesome.
Yeah, we miss you. So we like he'll make a joke, and I'm like, oh, it's his German humor. Like it's not funny. The rest of us is really brutal, but like. Identifying it.
All right, so we got SPOU. We have another S and an E.
This one, kind of, we disagreed on what this should be.
We voted.
Did we?
Yeah,
like the four of us voted? It was 3-1.
3-1.
I think it was.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought it was. We're gonna keep that strategize.
So we're debating on this one.
Success.
I think sex is very important.
I think so
in a
too.
Relationship.
If you're not doing that, you're not.
And it's weird now because my daughters are probably going like, "Oh my god, that's so gross, you sicko."
So I would. You can combine these two: strategize for success and strategize for sex, because it is easy when you're working with your spouse to go too far into all we do is business, all we talk about is business. And therefore it's not a good way to like romance your wife if all you do is talk about business. And so you have to strategize for sex.
Yes.
There we go.
There it is.
I think,
Yes, delivered.
Yeah, like really
set by Brandon Turner.
scheduling everything, right?
Yeah. Schedule it all.
All right,
Schedule.
looks like it's time. Let's go.
Hey, actually, it's,
Women love that. Yeah.
That's probably gonna work.
Yeah.
No, we'll be. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, hey, can we stop talking about your
business.
ideas?
Yeah, that's probably another.
We're working on that.
But that is, I feel like that's key. Like for men, especially women, there's a special thing for women too, in that deal, obviously, like emotionally. So bonding together, that's. I mean, I told people this like a while back, like if Christian or not, right? And they'd be like, I don't know, this Jesus stuff, blah blah. That sounds so weird. And I'm like, do you like having sex? And they're like, what does that have to do with Jesus? And I'm like, he created sex.
Good point.
And I'm like, if it was for reproducing, right? But we have such a good feeling from doing it. We enjoy doing it. Like there's something very, very amazing about that.
Yeah.
Like, let's remember that. Like God created that for a reason. It's not just to reproduce, but there's more to it than that. It's the time you share together, having that moment. Like that's very special. And I feel like thank you guys for Cam for adding that in there, because that's a win for the men right there.
Win for the men.
Yes.
So E.
Yeah. So anyway, we're on to E.
So anyway.
This is weird. My kids have now turned it off.
Yeah.
Everyone's tuned out.
Yeah. No.
So E.
Oh, efficiency. Execute
Efficiently.
Yes.
So this one, for a long time, I didn't listen to you, Brandon. I'm gonna admit this now, of like delegating, like that's also slowed our progress. Trying to do everything ourselves. And then there's only so much that you can do yourself. So you get to a certain point, it's like running out of your own money, where you're gonna run out of your own time. And so being efficient in your plan, a big part is delegating, but then also it's strengths that each one of you have. Like, why would I work 10 times harder at something he's awesome at?
Yeah.
And admitting that I'm not as good. A lot of it comes down to, like you said, like the ego and the pride. So another thing is, I'm like, it's kind of weird. Like, some of the things that we do, like him with like dishes, vacuuming, like these like gender roles, whatever you call them. And I'm like, I'm going to go do tile while you vacuum, honey.
Like, we do everything.
It's like not having that ego and just doing what needs to be done. Whoever's better at it and can do it more efficiently.
Yeah, the efficiency. And then like you just said, that's a big one. That's our goal for the first part of this year, is to automate our businesses and our Airbnbs, because we did everything. We were cleaning them. I mean, when I say everything, we did everything. And it was so tough. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, this is crazy. But it was so hard for us to really trust other people, right? When you want it done right, you do it yourself. That whole mentality. And it works for a while, but then there's a point where you have to start trusting others.
You got to level up and
exactly.
Yes, I always say I don't always say, but I've often said, like, sometimes the best way out is actually up. In other words, like the way out of your business is not to do smaller or to do more. It's to elevate your mindset, elevate your leadership. That's how you get out. That's how you go play golf on random afternoons, because you've got people doing the Airbnb, so you can go golf and network, which is a higher level event.
Yeah.
At least that's what we tell ourselves when we golf.
Exactly. I'm sticking to that.
Right?
All right, guys, this has been amazing. We've got to start moving towards the end. It's going to be one of our longest shows ever. But before we get there, let's get to the 3, 2, 1 pivot. So these are things that have changed your life, the direction of your life made you pivot. We'll start with 3 books that have changed the direction of your life.
Oh, well, I mean, everyone says it.
Rich Dad.
You know what's coming.
Poor
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
That, started it all 20 years ago for both of us. And then one that I had that was different than Jeff had, which was kind of what we were just talking about, is a 4-hour work week.
Yeah, I love that.
Which I'm like, oh, that's possible?
Yeah.
Like, huge. And then you had a more recent.
Well, Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
For Man's Search for Meaning. Like that, I read that when I was going through my post-traumatic stress, like that, just the mindset that guy had, like when he went through all that, I'm like, what the heck? right? I felt like
Yeah.
that was just an eye opener for me. And then Rich Dad Poor Dad was just the whole like make money work for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's like,
Mhm.
what the heck? What have I been doing this whole time? I just like my mind immediately picked up like little dollar bills like going to work for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, here's one, go get him, guy. And that's really what it is. And it just opened my mind to a whole nother world. So
It's amazing.
what's book number
Yeah.
3?
We gave 3. We need 3.
Oh, yeah, right. That was 3.
Yeah.
All right.
3?
All right. So
Awesome.
All right, cool.
Two
Next.
pivot people who are two people who have
Ooh.
changed the direction of your life.
Okay, yeah.
That's good.
There's like the before Jeff me
Mm.
and there's the after Jeff me. And I'm like, yeah, I would still be, like safely moving along.
Mhm.
If he didn't push me, like
the motivator.
exactly, where
Mhm.
he's like, you have all these good ideas and you're not doing them like you need to do them. So that encouragement. And then
Yeah.
do I get a second person?
You can try it.
Okay, I'll get a second person. So I guess like after becoming a mom, that was really changed my level of competitiveness
Yeah,
and
yeah.
increased my compassion. So thanks to Aubrey for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I feel like for me, there's people, this is pivot, right? So like, I just want to say like my dad I spoke about earlier, he's grounded me and my wife has grounded me. Like consistent, they're both very similar, like very quiet and they just go about their business. And she led by example. The things I would see her do changed my life. Like it just made me know like consistency and just doing what you need to do and just no complaints, just keep working. And the same with my dad. So those two like grounded me for sure. Pivot though, this is good. Like her dad, he showed me real estate. I used to go with him when he was like, we were like flipping houses, all these, he had crazy stuff going on. He's just buying like how many in a weekend or whatever, right? All this crazy stuff. And he's the guy that's like, goes all in. He's like, we're going to buy the whole country. Like, right. Like that kind of guy. And just like, I didn't really know a lot about it, but working with him and helping him flip houses and learning I was like, man, this is so cool. Like, this is just a crazy, what the heck? This is not like any other business, right? So that was a big part for me. And then been humble. He probably doesn't know this, but I saw him in Vegas.
I love Ben.
Yeah. And it was he said to me, he just like walked, he like threw a water bottle at me or something. I'm like, what's that guy? What the heck are you doing?
And you're like,
And he's like, hey. And we started talking. We're on our way back to the event. And he goes, he's like, oh, what are you guys doing? Like real estate, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, that's cool, man. I've had all that stuff too. And I said, man, we want to really grow this year because that was our first big year of growth and everything. And he goes like, give people a hand up, not a handout. He's like, just go help people, like do for others. And it was so funny because that was something I loved doing as a cop. I love being a cop because I wanted to like do for others. I really wanted to like, when I show up at scenes and like, like, look, I know you lost your car and I know all this stuff's so bad, but you didn't lose you. You know, you're not replaceable. Like God made you unique. Your car, that's a Honda. They have 100, thousands, millions, whatever. You can get another one. So when he said that to me, that really changed my focus when I was like, I want to go get all these things and do all this stuff, but it's not about me. I wanted to go and change other people's lives. And if I can implement that with my wife too, and just go help other people and contribute and pour into other people's lives, we'll see the outcome of it. And that through BetterLife Tribe and all that, the outcome was like so many blessings coming back to us.
That's cool.
It's amazing.
So, yeah.
What about a pivot quote? Any quote that you live by?
you want first?
Yeah. In the Bible, be still and know that I am God. And I don't know, I don't know why that is, but I take my daughter hunting and when we're out, like I tell her out, I'm like, hey, look, like you have to tune into nature. You have to just sit quiet and like, listen, you're not going to find the deer or anything like that if you're making noise. Like you really have to be quiet. And I told her that verse. I'm like, be still and know that I'm God. One, it's just short and easy to remember for me, which I love. But there's so much power in that to me because when you go out in nature, you just look out there and see what God's created. That's where it's at. Like we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle and all this stuff going on. But if you just take a moment, like when I was walking up on your deck and as I took a step and looked out I just stopped for a second and I'm like, this is God. Like not just the view, but this whole thing lining up being on this podcast. It's like, we have to remember all this stuff it's not ours, it's God's. And if we just be still and look at and pay attention to that moment, like
it's cool.
That's awesome.
So mine's a little different. Sir Edmund Hillary, it's not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that has been something we've really learned, like before you can go do the things, it's work on you. You're what's stopping you. You can do anything, but yeah.
Very cool.
Amazing. Awesome. So the next little segment, we're going to go into your past, present, future, and we're going to start with the past. So if you go back in time and tell 20-year-old Lexie or Jeff a bit of information, what would that be?
Get into real estate sooner, you
Yeah.
clown.
Good answer.
Listen to your wife.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's a good
Yeah.
answer,
No.
actually.
Yeah. No, I wish I could just say don't care about what other people think sooner.
Mhm.
Just go and be confident,
Yeah.
earlier.
What about in the present? What's an action or habit or something you've done recently in your life you've enacted and it's made your life a little better?
Oh, I hate it, but it does make my life better. Getting up early.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, and that was, one of the, I want financial freedom so I
Yep.
can sleep in.
Yeah.
Oh, just kidding. So I can
Yep.
get up earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
too.
that's good. For me, I would say, honestly, it's been coaching because
Yeah.
you're talking recent.
Yeah.
And the other big one to me is we have a granddaughter.
That's awesome. Yeah.
The 31-year-old grandpa. Good job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, what, dude? And it's so crazy to look back and be like, we're grandparents.
Yeah.
That's so
Mhm.
cool. So we just celebrated her 1-year birthday, and it's
That's cool.
That's
just amazing.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So last question, looking into the future, how do you guys want to be remembered? What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh man, I just talking about my granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm big in generational wealth building.
Yeah.
I want my granddaughter, my kids, and all that to have something to continue on in their lives. But I want to teach that to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just give it to them. I feel like there's so much that we think as parents, save up, give them money, or make sure they have something when we pass away, because it can happen at any moment. And that's good, but that's not where the value is at, right? And I go back to both of us kind of grew up on farms and ranches and stuff like that, and our parents taught us how to work the soil, how to plant, how to harvest. We did all that stuff, and even in real estate or whatever it is, and it's not to guide your kids down that path and say you're going to do real estate, but teaching them that if they want to be doctors or whatever, or be the next Elon Musk, go for it, right? But teaching them the foundations of what you do is key, because when you pass on someday, you want them to carry that on. Know hey, mom and dad have all this, real estate and stuff. We can sell it and buy a house on the beach and lose it all in 2 years, or we can continue this on and pass this on to our kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
So I really love generational wealth building, and that's been a very big passion of mine. So
It's awesome.
Yeah. I think for me, I want everyone to think that their life was better by having me in it.
Mm.
Just helping everyone that I can.
my life's better with you in it.
Oh, good. I'm
man.
glad to hear
Yes.
that. Oh.
Yes, that's better than the Paul
Yes.
Senior shirt. Yeah.
All right, let's close things up. 2 quick questions. First, what are you excited for? What's coming up in your life?
Ooh.
Let's go. I'm going to go all in on this campfire mastermind.
Yeah.
Cool. I am
Explain what that is real quick.
Yeah, just real quick.
I know it'll be past by the time this episode airs, but you'll do it again.
Yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
continue it. So March 5th through the 8th, Kevin Thusen is also going to be, it's his campground. He's got a bunch of KOAs, and that's
Yeah.
another amazing thing to invest in, by the way.
Yeah, he's going to come on the podcast. Too, at some point.
Yeah.
We've been
Hey,
talking.
guy's solid. He's
He's
so
a cool
amazing.
guy.
But you and I were just talking. We were talking about the Better Life events and stuff like that, and they cost a lot of money and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, if you could do something, we can bring our kids, right? You bring your kids and they're awesome running around and stuff like that. But for a lot of families, it's tough to do that. And the events are a little costly in some of them. And we just thought of camping. And so we're going to do this event. It's only 20 Better Life members and their families. And we're going to be really tight group, right? Where it's going to be very, very focused. We already have a lot of questions and things that we're going to be working while we're there. But the greatest part of this whole thing is it's going to be around the campfire, community building. We're going to be cooking together, dinners, lunch, everything. We're going to be doing it as a community together and playing games, going on all this stuff together. So I feel I just think that's another part where we're going to pave in this generational wealth building to teach parents and enjoy your kids. And then again, that be still and know that I am God, in nature and being out and
That's awesome.
And camping is like around a fire.
Yeah.
There's so much there. So I'm excited about that.
Now I feel bad about saying mine.
Really?
More real estate. No.
Yes.
So we want to, we're working on getting our processes and turning over like these 3 facilities and self-storage, but we want to, grow more in that. And then also pad split.
Yeah.
Really want to do that.
This
He's
girl-
trying to make me stay focused, but
Uh-huh.
maybe toward the end of the year once we get.
You're always, and I love it though. I'm good with that. We'll jump wherever. I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
afraid.
awesome.
Real estate's an adventure. Like
Yeah.
investing is an adventure. Like don't just. A lot of people stick with one thing. Like if you want to do things, go do it. That's what I think. There's a lot of passion with the husband and wife too. Like get into that stuff. Do it.
Mhm.
There's a lot there. It's awesome.
Cool. Love it. Where can people find you at?
Jeff and Lexie on Instagram.
Mhm.
We're so big on there. It's crazy. We did a live today, and I didn't even know how to turn off the live.
He's like,
Yeah, you see that. Anyway, but yeah, Jeff and Lexie on Instagram, Stash Investor on Instagram for me, and then Bodenmuller Properties. Okay, I know it's hard.
I told
Just
him
Boden.
too hard of a name.
I know, but it's there now. It's all done. It's Boden, Boden, Mueller, Muller. Bodenmuller. That's it. It's easy. Properties.com it has all of our stuff. We have a book coming out, working on right now, and all that too.
And
so.
in Circle.
Yeah, and in
dude,
Circle,
on
which
Better
is
Life.
our community for the Better Life Tribe. So come hang out, BetterLife Tribe, abetterlife.com. If you want to sign up, we'd love to have you.
all day.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Dude,
You're
thanks,
amazing.
man. Appreciate it. Oh yes, there it is.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Better Life Podcast. We hope you enjoy the show. I hope you got some valuable insights to help you lead a better life for you and your family. Now, hey, if you found value in this episode, please consider leaving us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us to improve the show, helps us reach more people with this message of living that better life. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And hey, before I go, this show is all about the habits, actions, beliefs, and strategies that can give you a better life. But in case you're interested and you want to know my opinion on what it takes to live the best life, not just better, and that's from like a more spiritual and faith standpoint, check out abetterlife.com/bestlife. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Better Life Podcast.